everyone, it's Caroline here from Aussie Cards and Crafts, and today, or yesterday actually, I made this one up and I popped it up on the Facebook site and said if anybody wants to know how to do it, I'll do a tutorial. So that's what I'm doing. This is obviously a birthday card. I will put a birthday greeting on the back there. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with it. It's called a snow dome card. Sarah Trebilco is the original designer of this one, and she did it a few days ago up on her site, and I will link her site just above there. Sarah does a lot of really good designs, but she doesn't do the decoration generally. She has one that she has decorated, but then she shows the technique in how to build the cards. So it's an excellent site, so please look out for her. She's an English lady. I'm really happy with this one. This is for a friend of mine who has just had a birthday, and this one is the one that we are going to be making today. So this is a Christmas card, once again following in my theme of my tutorials being Christmas cards to help me with my stash of Christmas cards. Now I do say at the end, when you're doing your card, please make sure that you use 300 GSM paper or at least 280. This one isn't. This is only about 250 and it's not quite strong enough. I did it because of the colours, but I will find a way of reinforcing this, and I'm not 100% certain how I'll do it, but I do want to reinforce it because I think that it does need a little bit more reinforcing than this just here. So, okay, so it's a little bit fiddly to put together, but follow the instructions and you shouldn't have any issues. If you do have any issues, please pop a note below and I will get back an answer to you. Okay, so let's get started. I'll just pop this one over here. Now, what we're going to do today is, as I said, we're going to do a Christmas card again. I've got all my elements here, but what I want to explain to you first is, I'll take that away too, other dies. Now, what I've used, I have used just circle dies, plain circle dies, and I need 4 sizes. Now, the size of your base card must be the same width as what your largest die is. Okay, now this other one here, I didn't do it that way. I did it the same sizes as Sarah, but it wasn't, my circle dies weren't the same size as hers. If you've got a cutting machine, obviously you can do whatever sizes you like. This particular die is 5 1/4 inches across. So that means that this piece here needs to be 5 1/4 inches across. If your die is 4 1/2 inches across, this needs to be 4 inches across. Okay, so just bear that in mind. Now, the way I do my circles, and I'll bring them all in here, is I've got the big circle which goes at the back, and that is done with the largest of my circle dies. Okay, the same with the piece that I'm going to cover that with, and you'll see that I've actually already put a sentiment on that side, so that will have to make sure that that is straight when I put that side on. Okay, so 2 of those in the largest size. You then need to do another 2 of the largest size here, and then what I do is I then go in, and you can actually do it all in one time. Use the smallest one and make a frame. Okay, so you pop it like that. Okay, so you've got now your largest one and your smallest one, and you make a frame. The part that is in there is in my scraps bin for use in other things, and you need 2 of these. So we'll pop those 2 aside for the moment, and we'll now talk about this one. Okay, now there are 2 of these, and these like I did with the pink, I'm going to pop the glitter on there. Okay, so what you need to do there is you need to do another frame, but you need to do it with the 2 in between sizes. So you've got another one that comes in here, and you've got another one that comes out there. So the 2 in between sizes, stick them together with some washi tape and run it through, and you will then get these beautiful, nice, fine borders, so, or frames. So do 2 of those. Then using the largest, I'll pop that one aside as well. Using the largest one of the 2 that you've just done, you then need to cut your acetate out. Now, for some reason, my cutting machine does not like cutting acetate, so I run it through. I then use the scissors to cut it out, and it is 1 size down from this one here. And the reason that is that when you're actually putting the acetate onto these rings here, you don't want, it gives you a little bit more wiggle room to get it right. Okay, so that's the reason I use the 1 size down. So you'll need 2 of those. Okay, so I know that's a lot of information, but I think it's important to go through that with you. So just quickly again, the back one and the cover piece at the back is the largest one. The largest and the smallest one create the wide frame, which are those 2. The 2 middle ones create those frames there that go in the middle of that, and then the largest one creates these just here. Okay, so I'll pop those to one side now. As you can see, I've already done a Merry Christmas just there, and I've done some fussy cutting on some of the paper as well for decoration. Okay, let me pop those up there. Now I'm going to bring in the scoreboard, and I'll go through, oops, there we go. I'll now go through how this actually is. So as I said before, I'll do that one in a minute. As I said before, the width of your paper or the width of your card is going to be determined by the size of your largest die for your circles, and in my case that is 5 1/4 inches. So I have cut my paper 5 1/4 inches by 11. If you've got a 4 1/2, you would cut it at 4 1/2 by 11. Once you've cut your piece, you then need to score at, let me make sure I've got this right with my cheat sheet here. Let's put it up the other way. Then it will be right. So you then need to score at 1 inch, 2 1/2 inches, 3 1/2 inches, 5 inches, 7 inches, 8 1/2 inches, and 9 1/2 inches. Okay, moving it around to the shorter edge, you then need to score. Now, depending on what it is, if you actually have a look, you have got a larger piece just here, and then you've got 1, 2, 3 over that side. Now, I would call that the back. This one, you've got the middle piece plus 1, 2, 3, 4 sections over there. So what we're going to do is we're going to do some other scoring, but I don't want it to touch this, this, or this. Okay, so we're going to go this side first, and this is where it's got 1, 2, 3, 4 from that big piece. So what you do at 1 inch, you come down to the 3rd score line. Okay, and then on the other side at 4 1/4, you come down to that 3rd score line. Okay, move it around, and this is where it's only got the 3 sections before the middle section, and then you come down 2 sections at 1 inch down to the 2nd score line, and at 4 1/4 you come down once again to that 2nd score line. Okay, so because in fact we're actually going to cut all of this away, but I'll go through that with you now. So what I tend to do is I get my pencil and ruler, because I can't cut for peanuts. I am not somebody who is good with scissors and cutting a straight line. So where we've got our centerpiece in here, which is the 2 inch piece, you're going to go from there down to that score line that comes across, and all you need to do is put your ruler there and draw your score line. You might not be able to see the score lines because I have kept them fairly faint, So once again, from that score line down to that score line that comes across. So you score there to there. Sorry, you cut there to there. You do the same on the other side, which I have already done. Then what you do is you get your scissors and you cut, and I tend to cut, there's my score line there, I tend to cut this side of it so it cuts that score line right out. So cut up to where your pencil mark starts and then follow that pencil mark right across to there. Okay, now that one's hasn't actually cut straight. I might use these scissors instead. Okay, that's better. So once again, this on this score line, you cut this side of the score line. Okay. Next, what we need to do is we can then now fold the score lines. Now with mine, I actually have, this has got white in the center. I don't think that's really going to matter, but if you wanted, you could get a black texture and black that out. Just very gently, just go around, making sure that you don't go onto your card, but just black out, and that really does create a better finish to your card. Okay, as you can see, I made a mistake there, so that's definitely going to be the inside of the card. So this is my inside, so what we now need to do is we can fold and burnish all of those fold lines. Okay. And they all go the same way in. So there's those three. Then we've got this one, this one, this one, and this one. Okay. And what actually is going to happen is that's going to fold in. This one's going to fold into that one. And then you're going to have your circles coming from there. Okay. So what we can do now is we can actually stick down this very first piece here. So on the part that has got from your center 1, 2, 3, 4, you just put some tape on that particular section. Then take the top off your tape. Oops. Let's go from this end. Then, using that as your center, fold that in, and then where it's up against that line, you need to then fold it again, okay? And once again, you can, I might need to do a green on that because it is coming through. I didn't realise that this card would do that. Next, you need to put tape, not stick, but tape. Oh dear, this is not doing well. Let me see what I can do to fix that. If in doubt, colour in. Okay, so it's not ideal, but it's just the card that I'm using, and it's really only going to be noticeable on the, yeah, that is the front. I might actually make that one the back because I don't think that one's quite as bad. It's amazing what tricks you can learn from watching DVDs or from watching videos. Okay, so now what we need to do is we now need to put tape on this very last one here and tape on there, but don't stick them together yet. There we go. So how that is going to actually go eventually is like that. Okay, and we're going to have the backings on them. So I'll put that to one side for the time being. Now, what I need is this piece here. Now, I've already put a stamped on a sentiment there. Okay, I'll heat emboss that. So what I'm going to do is I am going to make sure that that is straight, and I'm going to glue this piece onto that piece. Okay, now I'm pretty happy with that. And because they're exactly the same size, you should be able to get it. So you don't see any white on this side and you don't see any green on that side. So I'm pretty happy with that. So I'm going to pop that to one side for the time being. The next thing I'm going to do is I need to put on, I'm going to put these on first before I put the acetate on the back. And the reason I'm doing it that way round is so that if I get any glue, it's not going to get on the acetate. Okay, so I'll move that to one side. And what I use for this is I usually use my Cosmic Shimmer glue. There we have our two. I'll go back to this one first because that will be drier. The next thing is we need to put some acetate on the back. Now to do that, I use, and this is something I actually got from Sarah Trebilco. This is how she did it, and I thought it was a great way of doing it. So what she has done, what she does is she puts the red tape right on the edge of her acetate. Don't forget, this is going to be on the back of this ring here, so you're not going to see the tape. Okay, so now what we need to do, just with this little piece is 5 1/4 inches wide by 1 1/2 inches in depth. If you turn it over onto the back of it, you will see that I've made some pencil lines. So if you measure along 1 inch in and then rule down to that very corner there, do the same the other side, measure 1 inch from there and then make a pencil mark right the way down there, and then it is simply a case of cutting that off very carefully. Now this you will see, so make sure you do it as straight as you possibly can. You can do it on your cutting board obviously as well. So you just do that, and that is the piece that will fit on here. Okay, and that should be, when we put it together, that should be exactly the right size, and I'm going to put Merry Christmas there. So right, now it's time to pop everything together, and the best way that not so much me, Sarah actually did come up with an idea that was really good, and she uses a scoreboard. So I'm going to bring my scoreboard in, and I don't often use this solid scoreboard. I usually use the other one, but the scores are from that side, and I really would like it to be the other way around for what I'm doing here. So what we now need to do is we now need to put firstly the back piece on. Now I'm using this as my front, okay, because Now, why was that? Oh, because of the markings there. So I'm using this as my front, and what I need to do is I now need to fold it in like so, put it up there. Now you'll see that that is 3.5 inches. So that is 3.5 inches, and that is butted right in there. If I get my back piece and I pop it down, if you put it to about 7 and 8, yes, 7 and 7/8, you will find that that is the correct spot to do it. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little piece of tape, and I'll use a slightly thicker tape on this one, just down the bottom, and then I'm going to glue as well. So I'll pop my tape right down the bottom and take that off. No, I'll leave that on for the time being. So once again, you've got it butted right into the corner there. You want this straight, and you want that edge there butted right against that as well, and it to come to 7 and 7/8. So that's that one. Actually, that's not quite right. For this one, it is 8 1/8. Although it doesn't really matter. I think I'd rather have it 8 1/8. No, I won't. I'll have it at 8. No, I won't. I'll have it at 8 1/8. Then it actually lines up. So on that 8 1/8 one, and it also lines up just here and here. Okay, so I know that if I hold that anywhere from 3.5 down, I can put glue on, which is what I'm about to do now. Okay. And then I will take off my topper of that. Now I'm holding this absolutely in the right spot. I am pushing this against right up where it needs to be, and then folding it down. Okay. And I've got some glue spilling out there, so I'm just going to take that off with my finger. And there we have our first one that is on there with our Merry Christmas on the back. The next one we need to do is one of our other ones here. Now, this gets easier as we go. So let's go to there. And what we need to do is we need to make sure that this is in the right spot. I'm just looking, yeah, that's it. So I open it, I've just got to, because I'm using the opposite side, it's actually a little bit different to how I put it together last time. So just bear with me. That was to 8 inches. This one would 8 1/8. This would be put on here. Once again, right against there, and this will, the top of it will be, and this is where I'll get a ruler out. So that's the line that I want it to come to. So I will move this down. It's a little bit sticky on the outside, on the back side, because of the tape that I put on it. So that's where that one has got to go. Okay, so very simple. Take this tape off and then stick that down. And that will then be, oops, let's just take that red tape topper off. That will then be the same. Next, we can now take this tape off. this is going to come up, and this one is going to butt straight against that one, and then there we go. Now we put our front one on, so once again we fold it down flat, and this is where sometimes when it goes together it doesn't necessarily like it, so we'll just put a bit of effort in there. And this one is going to come down to, work this out. Okay, so this is going to come down to 6 1/8. So I'm going to put that along there. I'm going to make sure that's on the right one. Make sure it's in there properly and it's at the top, and that's where it's going to be. So what I need to do now is I need to put a little bit of tape there. Okay, so this is going to be 6 1/8, all nicely lined up. So it's going to be there. So I'm going to put my tape just here. And once again, line that up at the 6 1/8 mark. And then stick it down. And there we have our, there we go. Okay, so it does, whoopsies, let's try and get that off. Oh, don't you hate the backing to this tape, honestly. So there we go, we've got that. Now, if your card is not 300 GSM, you might find that it is a little bit floppy. There is a way you can actually get over that, and you can create what we call a, I think this is 250 or 210, so it's not too bad. But if you're a bit concerned, you can put some card from there to there to there, and you can actually stick it on. So I might just do that just to show you how it's done. It only needs to be 1/4 inch, so let me just cut that. And it needs to be 3 inches in length, so we'll cut that. Then it needs to be scored at 1/4 inch, 1 1/4 inches, 1 1/2 inches, 1 3/4 inches, and then 2 3/4 inches. Okay, so you've got a piece a bit like that. So what you're going to do is the first one's going to be a mountain fold. The second one's going to be a valley fold. The third one's going to be a mountain. The fourth one's going to be a valley. And then the last one's going to be a mountain. So what you're looking for is a piece of paper, a piece of card that basically looks like that. Okay. Now, what we need to do is it's going to, I'm actually not going to put it on this one, but you then pop it there, and then stick it just so, and you will find that you, not only can you hang things from that, but it also gives it a little bit more stability. So, in fact, I will do it. I'll do the right thing. So, I'll just use the strong double-sided tape for all of them. So, the part that folds down will have double-sided tape on there, on the outside, and this one is the same. If you use 300 GSM card, you should not need to do this. And then what you then need to do is to put a little bit, you can either use glue, but I prefer to use tape. You then put tape on, so you've got your tape on the ends there, you turn it over, and in those two middle sections, just put a little bit of tape in there as well. And then what you need to do, take the middle section off first. And make sure you don't stick it together, because it will stick absolutely together. And in the middle, you make sure, I've just got to get my light right here, and I've got it in the right spot. Where that line is, that crease, you pop it there. Put the other one over the other side. This one you can then take off. Fold it over and pop it to there. And this one pop it to there. So just take that off. And then put it to there. That way, not only have you got more stability in your card, you and this is really important if you have actually got using a card that is not 300 GSM. This one, I'm not sure what it is. It's definitely not 300 GSM, but it's still standing okay. Next, what we do is we do the decoration, and that's one of my favourite parts. Firstly, we pop on at the front here. I've got that piece that we cut before. I'm just going to put that just there. And then on top of that, I am going to put Merry Christmas. And I've also done some little cutouts here. I'm going to put my snowman. Let's move that away. And I'll do this. I'll speed up while I do all of this. I'm going to put my snowman there, so you can see the shack in the background, the snowman forward. And then I've got some other little bits and pieces that I'll either put from there or there. I'm not 100% certain yet. I might even cut some more out to make it happen. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. So I'll go ahead and do all of that and speed up so you don't have to watch me. Okay, so now we have them finished. So there is my first one. Okay, so good friends are hard to find, harder to leave, and impossible to forget, which is that one. And then we've got a Christmas one, which is Merry Christmas, and that has got the support just there. I would suggest that you do this with 300 GSM card, not the thinner card like I have here. But if you can see that looks really lovely. I might just put some more. I'll see what I've got in my stash, and I might just put a few more little bits on there. The alternative is you can also use acetate that already does have the snow on it. I haven't got any, so that's why I haven't used it. But I think it's a really pretty card. The dimension, this would be, I would say 8 1/4. So it would fit into an 8 1/2 by 5 1/2, maybe 5 3/4 envelope. There's not a huge amount of dimension on it. I did put this on with foam tape, but there's really not a huge amount of dimension on it. So yeah, I hope you give it a go. It is a bit fiddly to line up, but stick with it because it's really not that difficult. And as you can see, I'm thinking that I might put another, yeah, I'm thinking of how I can reinforce this so it does stand a lot better. This one, because it's in thicker card, this was 280 GSM. That stands beautifully. But this one I think might have a bit of a problem. So, but anyway, see how you go. Please put your makes up on our Facebook page at Aussie Cards and Crafts. If you're not a member, just pop a request in, and yeah, we would love to have you as member. And from there, we will. I will hopefully see you again in the next couple of weeks, depending on my my work schedule. But yeah, I'm thrilled to bring this one to you, and I'm calling this the same as what Sarah called it. I'm calling it the snow dome card, because it does look like and is shaped like a snow dome. Happy crafting, and I'll see you next time. Thank you.